everlasting dragons ruled an achromatic land. Then fire appeared, adding contrast and color to a world that was until then covered in a veil of gray. Creatures who emerged from the dark found the Lord's souls within the flame. When the everlasting dragons were challenged by the creatures who possessed the strength of the Lord's souls, Seath the Scaleless, the pale white dragon, betrayed his own kind by siding with Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight. The dragons were no more. For the pale dragon's help, Gwyn awarded him with dukedom. Some say that Seath had an unsound fixation. He was obsessed with immortality and was consumed by work and research in his tower. His thirst for knowledge, and what his research has revealed, eventually drove him mad, not unlike King Osiris perhaps. After the onset of his madness, Seath conducted terrifying experiments on human subjects. Channelers, or snatchers as they were often called, were sorcerers that served Seath. They ventured to far lands to find suitable specimen. The Duke's archives, a place where knowledge should have prospered, eventually became a prison for the poor souls unfortunate enough to cross the channeler's path. Perhaps before he lost his mind, Seath had a daughter, Shira. Since Seath allied with Lord Gwyn, he was embraced by royalty. Perhaps his daughter was embraced as well. Her armor, which resembles that of a firekeeper, denotes that Shira is of royal blood. Her crown is finely crafted with silver and fashioned with a pearl from a man-eater shell. Man-eaters can be found in the Crystal Cave, where Seath spent most of his time before his untimely death. Perhaps that crown was a parting gift from her father and serves as a reminder of the world she left behind in order to fulfill the duty gods entrusted her. What was her duty? For the pygmies who took the dark soul, the great Lord gifted the Ringed City, an isolated place at the world's end, and his beloved youngest daughter, promising her that he would come for her when the day came. Perhaps Shira was to watch over Gwyn's youngest daughter, to guard her until the Lord of Sunlight was to come back for his beloved child. During his adventures, the Ashen One can encounter Shira. If the Ashen One talks to Shira, agrees to fight Dark Eater Meteor, a descendant of the Archdragons, takes the sacred chime of Filianore, defeats Meteor, then wakes up the sleeping princess and seemingly teleports into the future, Shira will find him in the desert at the end of the world. She will attempt to end the Ashen One for disturbing Filianore's slumber. How is it possible that Shira is alive and well at the end of times while everyone else seems gone and buried in the sand? Perhaps she is somewhat immortal. What if, when she was told that she was going to the Ringed City, Shira brought her father's research notes with her? Once she made the world's end her new home, she studied those notes and discovered immortality. She did not discover eternal life alone, though. She had a companion, perhaps a lover. The Mad King, an inhabitant of the Ringed City who was born into pygmy royalty. As they both indulged in immortality, the king became undying. Crucifixion makes one think of Jesus. Jesus was crucified because the Romans considered him a political threat. Shira's companion met a similar end. He was embedded on a crucifix. Perhaps in the Ringed City he was also considered a threat. Could it be Shira's companion, the royal pygmy, became known as the Mad King because he thought of doing something that would go against Gwyn's wishes? Maybe he thought of doing something that would be considered pure madness by the pygmies living in the Ringed City. Perhaps he wanted to leave the city, or to wake up the sleeping princess. Perhaps he cracked Filianore's egg. Who knows? It's known, however, that Shira was the one who put him to rest. Unfortunately, Shira's cross spear, unable to kill the undying king, only pinned itself to him. Regardless of the king's transgressions, and even after her attempt to end him, Shira continued to care deeply for him. Shira delivered the crucified Mad King to a dark room. She wore her formal wear, even though none would see her. She stayed there for a while and held him close. On a side note, what is the dark room? Could it be referencing a wedding ceremony between Shira and the crucified king? Would not surprise me. I'm still traumatized from my last in-game Dark Souls wedding. Could the dark room be a reference to a coffin, or a room used to develop photographs? Could it be a hint at the black cat analogy? Could it be a shout-out to the Schrodinger's cat, with Filianore somehow being the cat? Could it be Miyazaki passing out darkroom pendants and messing with everyone for no reason? I don't know. Anyway, where was I?